Ignition sequence starts. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Hey everybody, this is the Digital Asset Investor, and today I've got several things that I wanted to go over with you, several interesting different things. The first is this article where Vinny Lingham talks about how the market cap of cryptocurrencies will be in the trillions, and more or less in this article he's telling you basically what I talk about a lot, which is take a step back, the big picture. Well, I know it's very scary and frustrating, all these day-to-day, oh, the market's getting killed and all that. But if you look at this the way that he tells you to look at it, and you look at it the way that I always look at it, is the main thing that's important, in my opinion, is this is a new asset class. Once you understand in your mind what that means, and the fact that a new asset class, and he's not talking about asset class, but he's talking about where this market's going. But once you understand and accept that this is a new asset class, and you don't have to just guess, they have said in print, the biggest financial institutions in the world have said it's a new asset class. Fidelity has it on their Fidelity Digital Assets website. Morgan Stanley has said it. Several others have said it. Bakkt has said it. The CEO of Bakkt has referred to it as the new asset class. It is the new asset class. Once you accept that, all these day-to-day ups and downs are irrelevant, because what Vinny's saying in this article is 100% true. Trillions are going to come in. There is no asset class that does not have trillions of dollars in it, period. And this is the first new asset class in over, I believe it was since 1696. And so I just wanted to show you one quote from his article. I'm a big believer in crypto for a long term, and I think we're gonna have a market cap in the trillions. But right now we're gonna have to take some pain because we got over exuberant. So he's referring to last December. We had a crazy run up. Every time you have a crazy run up, eventually you're gonna have a good pullback, and we've had a great pullback. But it's just a natural part of markets. And so, but as far as who is Vinny Lingham, I want to show you. He is, it looks like he's on Shark Tank in South Africa. This is him here. And he's the CEO of Civic Key, building a global blockchain ID platform, general partner, multi-coin cap. So he's, I guess that's a hedge fund or something. And he's out of San Francisco. So, one more guy that says trillions. Okay, now next I wanted to show you this. Bitcoin Cash ABC lead developer Craig Wright will definitely threaten to disrupt the chain. Now Rand Nooner is talking to Amari Sechet, the lead developer of Bitcoin ABC, and I just wanted you to see a couple of things he said. He said, we all know Craig Wright, how Craig Wright functions. And this is the guy that is against Bitcoin ABC. He's Bitcoin Cash ABC. He's Bitcoin Cash SV, I believe. That's Craig Wright. We all know how Craig Wright functions. There will surely be a lot of threats from his side as well as the SV team. After the entire fork debate, he has even started attacking Ripple's XRP, which means he is just out there to seek attention. The reason he attacked XRP this past week, people, is because he knows that's the biggest threat. He knows that that's an even bigger threat to him than Roger Ver and his team in the mining wars, because he knows that this entire mining war that they're having here, this hash war, it's going to cause the investing public to turn their head and say, whoa, don't want to be in any of these mined digital assets. Look at XRP over here, or look at Stellar over here. And so finally this guy says, the ABC team is definitely cautious about attacks and threats from the opposite team. We are also working very closely with miners to make sure that any sort of change does not happen. The SV team can try something, but we will definitely do our best to make sure the network is safe. Now, what I want to draw your attention to is this. We are also working very closely with miners to make sure that any sort of change does not happen. Well, my question to all of these guys is the following. If you're decentralized, if you really are decentralized, what do miners have to do with whether or not your digital asset is going to be affected or not going to be affected? If it was truly decentralized, it wouldn't matter what any third party did or what any miner did. It wouldn't matter. They wouldn't be able to do anything to you, i.e. XRP. If it was truly this right here, if you've ever wanted to let this all really sink in, XRP, and this is the irony, is that these clowns have been for years. They've been saying, "Oh, XRP is not decentralized." Well, just the opposite is being exposed to be true right now. Or is XRP having to worry about all the, oh, they're going to attack us, and then we're going to get some miners together and do this, do it. XRP, we don't have to deal with any of that. We temporarily are affected by the overall digital asset market, but that's a temporary problem. We will decouple from Bitcoin because we're nothing like Bitcoin. We're the greatest digital asset ever created. So moving along, I wanted to get look at this was from Bon Crip, sent this to me at BONCRYP. You need to follow him. He's in the XRP community and puts a lot of good stuff out. American Express is officially using Ripple's X Current. XRP news today. The Vice President of American Express, Colin O'Flaherty, on Wednesday confirmed that the company is officially using X Current. And this is the article link. I'm not going to get into that, but this, and as we all know, X Current does not use XRP. And so I can hear all of the people right now, but, well, that doesn't use XRP. Well, guess what? These are baby steps with any type of software that you sell to a company. There's a thing in sales called upselling. First, you sell product number one. Then over time, if your products are worthy of those companies using, i.e. if they save the company 30 to 70%, which XRapid has been proven to do, then eventually those products will be upsold. And Ripple, as we've covered before, in their software interface for X Current, they are already making it easy, push button for these banks and payment companies to use XRapid through their X Current platform through the interface. All right, moving along. This is an interesting thing too. C3 Nick at C3_Nick. Follow him if you don't. Great, one of my favorite XRP Twitter guys. Coinbase Custody has updated the XRP logo to display the correct one. We covered this before. In Coinbase Custody, now this is their institutional custody. They custody XRP now, and we had made something out of the fact that they had put the Ripple logo for XRP, and I had made a comment about how I thought that was intentional. I still think that was intentional, but over the course of time, I'm sure that was their way of just sticking it in Ripple's eye, but now they've changed it. I guess they decided they wanted to be more professional now. Okay, and this is really, this one's interesting to me. This was from Mr. Cool Daddy at Eric Vale Naylor 2. Now, he's also started a YouTube channel, which I told you about the other day, I believe. Go to YouTube and you can either look for Cool Daddy or I keep forgetting the name of his channel, but it's something White Couch, the White Couch Critic, I believe. So type one of those two things in, you'll find him, and he's a firefighter. And you can follow him here on Twitter. But he sends me a lot of good stuff too. Is an alliance between Ripple and Stellar XLM in the works? Global Coin Report, and it references this article, and I wanted to pass this along for what it's worth. Now, I've told you before, actually this past week, we went over the fact that all of the coins that are not mineable, Stellar would be one of them. I would not be a bit surprised if you begin to see a lot of joint ventures between some of these that are legitimate technologies. I think Stellar is, Cardano, some of the ones down the list are like legitimate technologies, and one way or another, who knows, XRP could form some partnerships with some of these guys. And because ultimately, remember, Ripple created the interledger, and ultimately you're going, whether it's fiat or other digital assets, your XRP is going to be a bridge ultimately, and it'll be a settlement function, but also it'll be a bridge currency. And we're gonna be, whether it's Stellar or anybody else, if they're legitimate digital assets, over time we're gonna be flowing back and forth through XRP and to all sorts of digital assets. But this article talks about how there's a rumor going that XRP may partner with Stellar. And if you look down here, it says, this is what was interesting to me. It says, so, a funny and unexpected thing happened not too long ago. Jed McCaleb, who was one of the founders of Ripple and then left to form Stellar, Jed McCaleb's XRP wallet received 40 million XRP tokens, and nobody knows who sent it to him or why. The transaction could seem irrelevant, but there's a reason for the cryptoverse to pay attention to it. Jed McCaleb is Ripple's founder, but he left a few years ago to create a new blockchain project called Stellar Lumens. That's where he works now, and Stellar is considered to be Ripple's main and most direct competitor in the crypto space, because they are trying to gain adoption in many of the same markets, mainly in the financial sector. And so this, to me, it would not surprise me at all if XRP and if Ripple and Stellar form some type of partnership. And the bottom line is this: I all the time, like every time an announcement about Stellar comes out or something like that, everybody's like, "Oh, is this going to hurt Ripple?" Oh no. Well, I've been I've done a lot of things in my life, and I've been in sales a good part of it. And I can tell you something that you're taught in sales, and that is, I'm going to tell you two things that you're taught in sales, and one of these is for the XRP community, and one of them has to do with this. In sales, let me try not to lose my train of thought here, but in sales, you're taught that as far as competitors go, you're taught that if you don't have any competition, then you don't have a good product, or there's not a real need for a product. The fact that you have competitors tells you that there's a need for the product. The time to get scared is when you don't have competitors. No one is going to own 100% of any market. That's not the way the world works. And so that is a ridiculous concept. So when you see an announcement from some other digital asset that's doing well or made a deal with IBM or whoever else, that's great. It's great for that company, but it's also not horrible for Ripple. Ripple has plenty of things going on, and one of those companies, probably Ripple or Stellar, will have the larger market share. In my opinion, Ripple will have a much larger market share. One of the main reasons being because they were first. I mean, they were first. The company was 1 or 2 years ahead of Stellar. And so, but the other thing I was going to tell you about sales, and many of you out there in the Ripple community need to understand this. I see all this fighting and all this different things. I see people getting all these arguments and fights, whether it's on Twitter, within the community. And here's what they tell you in sales is they say, listen, don't ever go, if you're going to go sell to a company, don't ever go and bash your competition. Okay? And here's the reason you don't do that. Let's use the XRP community as an example. Okay? Let's say, for instance, now Alex Cobb, he's a friend of mine. Okay? He's a good guy. And I'm very impressed with what he's done, and I listen to him almost every day. I think he's a great guy. Well, what would happen if I went out and I started bashing Alex Cobb? That would be the dumbest thing on the planet for me to do, and here's why. There are many of you out there that are in the XRP community, just like me, who like Alex Cobb, and you listen to him every day. And it's a personal offense to you that I would attack him, even if you like me. Why would I attack a guy, especially a guy why would I attack a guy? It's not going to help me. How's it going to help me to go out and put down some other guy? It makes me look bad in several ways. Why would anybody do that? And that's the reason that I don't, I avoid all of that type of thing, and you should too, because I see some of the most nasty things. Okay, I'm not going to go down this road any further, but I just want to illustrate a point, and this is kind of to everybody in the XRP community or anywhere else. You really don't accomplish much in life by trying to bash people. Do your own thing. Do the best you can do, and quit focusing on what other people are doing wrong. Focus on you. Focus on how you can better yourself, and quit worrying about what everybody else is doing. Because ultimately, you're your own salesman. It's your game. You can win or succeed on your own, but everybody quit getting diverted and worrying about what other people are doing. That's not. I'm worried about supporting my family, and that's what my XRP investment is about. I know what it's going to do for my children and grandchildren, and these guys that are out there and waking up every day to make videos or to put tweets out on Twitter to inform everybody about XRP, those are my friends. Those are people that are helping me. They're helping my family because they're helping get the word out. And so I have no beef with anybody in those kind of terms. That's a good thing. Okay, I wanted to show you guys something about Stellar that's very interesting. XRP has been accused of being a security for many, the last year XRP is a security and da 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 da. I just want to make an interesting point about Stellar that many of you may have never even thought of. Stellar remember Stellar, Jed McCaleb was with Ripple, and then he left Ripple to form Stellar. Well, have you ever wondered why does nobody, Stellar technologically wise is about the same thing as XRP. It's very similar. In fact, I think it was some type of, I think it was more or less like a carbon copy of XRP. Technologically, I'm not going to get down in the dirt on that, but I wanted to make a point here, something that many of you probably have never ever thought about. Why is XRP always, there's only one difference really between, that is the reason that XRP is attacked as a security and Stellar XLM is not. And this is the one reason that many of you have never thought of. And here's the reason. Have you ever noticed that Stellar is not a corporation? Stellar is an organization. Stellar was formed, it was incorporated in 2014 as a non-stock, it's a non-profit corporation, okay, in the U.S. state of Delaware. SDF has no stock, no profits given to individuals, no private inurement. The Stellar Network and Stellar Protocol, as defined in the responsibility section, are hereinafter collectively referred to as Stellar. I want to say that again. SDF, also known as Stellar.org. This .org, that is the only reason that you don't ever hear Stellar mentioned as a security. You take away that .org, make that a .com, and make this an actual for-profit corporation, and all of a sudden people would be saying, is Stellar a security? And here's why. This is from Investopedia. This is the exempt securities section, okay? Nonprofits, a security issue. These are organizations that are exempt from securities laws. Cannot be a security. A security issued by a person organized and operated exclusively for religious, educational, benevolent, fraternal, charitable, social, athletic, and reformatory purposes, or as a chamber of commerce and not for profit. Non-profit. So the reason I show you this is so that you understand. Many out there may like to believe that people form these nonprofit organizations for reasons such as helping the poor and all of this, or that Warren Buffett and Bill Gates formed charitable foundations because they just want to help people. Well, I got news for you people. It's for monetary reasons that most of these people, these wealthy people, do this, or in this case, Stellar. This was done specifically, in my opinion, specifically so that I think they anticipated this security issue coming up down the road, in my opinion, because it's not just Stellar. You look down the list, start going down the list on CoinMarketCap of a lot of these digital assets, especially the ones that came out after, that weren't the early ones to the party. And many of them you'll see are nonprofits. Now, why is that? There's a very obvious reason for that. So I think that might catch many of you by surprise. A lot of people did not realize that, but that's the reason. I wanted to finish this video with two things. First, when the market goes down, I want to always try to remind you of the bigger picture. And the bigger picture is this. This is a quote from Brad Garlinghouse. By the end of 2018, major banks will use XRP as a liquidity tool, and by the end of 2019, there will be dozens of banks using the XRP tool. So, people, this is the big picture. You just put one major bank using XRP, and that coin market cap and those numbers and the negative numbers you've been seeing over the last 2 weeks become very irrelevant very quickly. And he wouldn't come out, Brad Garlinghouse is a CEO, he wouldn't come out and say something that he didn't already know was going to happen. It's like a lawyer does not go into court and they don't put someone on the stand and ask a question unless they already know the answer to it. It's the same here. This guy has too much responsibility to come out and make a statement like that without already knowing that it was going to happen. And so just sit back, relax, either hold or keep buying more. That's what I'm doing, buying more. I want to give credit here. This is a graphic that was put together by Steadis, at Steadis. You can follow him on Twitter. He's got a great website, steadis.hr. Finally, before I go, this popped up in my box yet last night. If you have not gotten your Ledger Nano S, now those of you that don't know the Ledger Nano S, we talk about it all the time because it's the only safe way to hold your digital assets in cold storage as an individual. It's like a little thumb drive, and you can actually, first night I put my stuff on mine, I slept so much better from that point until today. I literally spent 3 or 4 years with my digital assets out there, and I was shuffling them from here to here. I was separating. I would have some on one exchange, some on another, and I tried everything, but I always remained paranoid until I got my Ledger Nano S, and I haven't worried since. And here's something that a lot of people don't know about these Ledger Nano S's, and this is really cool. Once you have your Ledger Nano S set up, let's say that you have XRP on there and Bitcoin, and let's say you have just XRP and Bitcoin. You can get your XRP address, the address for your XRP. You can get your Bitcoin address that's associated with your device. And once you have those two addresses, from then on, every time you buy digital assets on an exchange, you can, let's say you go and you buy Bitcoin on Coinbase, as an example. If you have your Bitcoin address for your Ledger Nano S, all you have to do is send it straight from Coinbase to the address and keep your address. And you don't have to go and get the ledger out every time. You just send it to the address and it's there, and you don't have to worry about it anymore. So you can, anytime you have some extra money and you want to make a buy, you just buy and you can send it to your address and it's there. And so it's so nice to have these things. I'm a digital asset investor. I'm not an investment advisor. This is for entertainment purposes only. Please subscribe and hit the like button and tell your friends and family that they're doing a 50% off sale on the Ledger Nano S. It's going to go from today until November 26th. If you've ever needed one, thought about getting one, or thought about getting one for a family member, now is the time. And so go do it to it. Thank you for listening.